Okay, people, we're back on it. Let's see. What I need to do right now is center the center link. So what we've got, I don't think we can see it very well. There's your pitman arm. We've got roughly an inch between the pitman arm, center of the pitman arm, and the frame rail. And we're eyeballing all this. I haven't measured it yet. We got to eyeball it, then we're going to put it on the ground and set it. So on this side we got about an inch and a half. So we need to come over about a quarter of an inch. Let's see. I think that might be too much. Let's see. See, the pitman arm is straight now, or the idler arm is straight. So all the front end in this car had been replaced, but nothing had been set. Yeah, see, we've got about an inch and a half on that side now. So we need to come back. Okay, so we were pretty good before. Yeah, there we go. We're about centered. So just eyeballing it. You see, this wheel is clearly towed out to the right. They're going to look like they're towed out anyway, just because of the curve of the fender, but see, this one does too. So we might be okay as far as the centered part goes. Once we get it on the ground, then we run a tape measure across it and make sure that it's actually, the toe is set. That's the only thing we can do without special equipment. And then it goes to the alignment shop, and the caster and the camber and all that good stuff gets set. But right now we're going to measure everything and then put it back on the ground. Okay, we got the fuel line changed. I went ahead and used Corbin clamps, changed one up there. You can't really see it. I did change the sending unit in the gas tank. As it turns out, the float was bad, I suspected. I went ahead and ohmed out the original sending unit, and it seems to be good. I'm not sure how consistently good it is, but it seems to be reading fine. I went ahead and put the new one in it anyway. This thing, I'd put 5 gallons of gas in it after I drained all the old gas out, and it's already burned through more than half of it, just, you know, running it here. So, yeah. We need to get some more gas. So the gas gauge is sitting right on the empty line, which is good. It means you still have enough to get you to the gas station. So Thursday, the car's going in for a professional alignment. I went ahead and got it set. It's about a quarter inch towed out right now, but I think when it comes down with the weight on the wheels, it should be towed in about, I don't know, 1/16, quarter, up to a quarter, something like that. Monday, it's going in for exhaust. As you can see, you know, before the pipe was too far back, it was hitting the axle. I cut 2 inches out of the pipe to bring it up. I put collector gaskets in it, and I used the Remflex gaskets. The collector on the header is fine. The flange is fine. But the collector's on the pipe, the flange is just gone. It's worn through, rusted through, beat to crap, especially on the other side. So at that point, you know, we're just going to stop and put exhaust in it. It's got some pinholes, or some pretty decent sized holes out by the tailpipes anyway. It's not safe for driving across the country. Tightened up a couple bolts on the motor mounts. Got that done. I still need to tighten up the lug bolts, lug nuts on the wheels. I need to, these things, these scoops, all the hardware was missing. I've got some over in my shed. I just need to find them. just these little nuts here, and that should be good. We'll get some more gas in it, and I think we could take it on a test drive. I got to get it on the ground tomorrow, take it for a test drive. I need to check the tow again once it's on the ground. I did put a different radio in it. I had an old Sparkomatic twin dial. Let's see, we're going to need light. Sparkomatic twin dial. Looks almost identical to the old one. And it actually works pretty good. I need to clean all this stuff out. I need to put that door panel on still. We got a couple days left before I take it down. We got a day left before I take it down. Yep, that's it for tonight. We're done. We'll catch you in the morning. We are back at it today. Today should be the final day that it's inside this tarp shed. I got the hood scoop hardware found and installed. I didn't bother to replace these studs because they're in there really well, and I was afraid it would pull the threads out of the pot metal. Nothing's in that great a shape. You see this hood, you could buy them new, probably Taiwan, for about 350 bucks. This one really isn't any good. But it's kind of cool with the scoops and all, instead of a flat, just plain hood. This one doesn't have the turn signals in it, but it does have the provisions for it. So, I need to get these lug nuts tightened up, get the jack under it, get it back on the ground. I'm going to go ahead and fire it off, get it warmed up while I'm doing that, get the stuff cleaned off the top of it, and then we're going to back it out of this tarp shed if I can. Everything's wet, it's raining right now. Hopefully there's enough traction to get going. And yeah, we're going to take it on a test run, so bear with me. Alrighty, so we're going to hop in this thing, we're going to fire it up, get it warmed up. You know, now that the choke's working, it does start a lot easier. We're going to go from there, get it warmed up, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to tighten up the wheels. I'm going to get the jack underneath it, jack stands out, drop it down on the ground, and get it out of here. running pretty good. The rain's pretty bad. Now when I put this car in here, it was dry. The ground was pretty dry. It has since turned into mud, like I figured it probably would, but this could be a problem. You know, once this thing's all done and this car is out of here, I gotta clean up my mess too. Kind of typical of everything I do. Alrighty, I'm gonna clear off the top of this car and back it out. Well, unfortunately it's after dark and you can't really see anything that's going on here, but we're gonna give this thing a shot anyway. Here we go. A lot of gravel being thrown up on the wheel wells. Alrighty, we're back from our test drive. This whole thing's doing pretty good. It's running alright. The lifter's still pumping up, which is unfortunate, but hopefully it will fix itself. I don't know. It's still running pretty darn good though. It'll break the tires loose at the drop of a hat. It'll light them up and all the way through first gear. They use tar and gravel out here, so traction is definitely kind of high. You probably heard in the video, you know, these tires like to grab a lot of that gravel and fling it. We had some major rubbish, especially right here on the front tire. I got that rolled. Unfortunately, I don't have anything around. I had to use the leg for one of my cherry pickers. But you can see it. He took a chunk out of that tire. Brand new tires. It'll be fine, but I didn't hear any more rubbing from here. I don't hear any rubbing from that side. Back here, though, I hear a lot of rubbing. And you can't really see, but I mean, look at all the damage. I guess you can't really see in the dark. You know, all this damage there. I can't get that square tubing up in there. I need to find something round in order to rub it or roll it. Maybe tomorrow I'll jack up the rear end, pull the wheel back off, and take my hammer and beat the crap out of that lip. Beyond that, yeah, I'll have to do that in the morning, and then we'll head on out and get the oh, the antenna got bent somehow. Anyway, we'll head on out, go get the alignment done on this thing. I think we're okay for everything else anyway. Hey, I got a jack handle, or a axe handle there. That might even work. Okay. Alrighty, so that's where we're at. That's where I'm going to leave it. And we'll see you tomorrow. This is day 1276.2 of the Roachstang build. Resurrection, however you want to call it. Okay, so had some rubbing issues last night. And my fix, pulled the wheel off, kind of beat this lip around, but it's so damaged and there's so much rust. The inner wheelhouse is separated from the outer, which I think is going to catch the tire. Hopefully it won't destroy it, because I got to get down for the alignment, and then we can deal with other things after that. One of the fixes we're going to do is these shackles back here. I don't know if you can see them. These shackles. It's on the lowest setting. We're going to bump them up to the next setting and see if that doesn't help some too, but I can't do that this morning. It's going to have to happen after I get back. So I'm going to jump over to the other side and then I got to get going. Alright, so here's what we got with this side. Rolled the lip, so it's pretty smooth on the back side, but as you can see, the wheel is out there about flush, which is an interesting thing, because come over to this side, and not only is it recessed behind, of course we could have bent some of this out, but I did notice this before, the axle is pushed over some. It could be the blocks. It probably is the blocks. Or it could be frame damage. I mean, God knows this thing's got enough of it. Who knows? But hopefully it won't rub, or at least it won't rub too bad until we can get those shackles put back up, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to go get cleaned up. We're going to hit the road. You guys will be along for the ride. We'll see how it does. I can tell you from last night it was all over the road, but we'll see what happens today. Okay people, next day. The alignment didn't happen. And the reason why is apparently their machines have to clamp onto the beads of the wheels, and this bead is so wide it just pushed their machine off. So the only way for us to get the alignment done is to throw another set of wheels on. And the only ones I have are these old crappy modular wheels and these old crappy Chrysler wheels that I was saving for the Volvo. And the other thing I had to do is find nuts. These nuts are actually off my sister's AMC Eagle wagon. They're rough looking, ugly, but they still work. I'm missing one. Now you can't use the mag lug nuts in the wheel, and I will show you why. Here we've got can't really see the seat very well. See, as it goes in, it has a tendency to want to pull into the wheel, and I absolutely cannot use these on the modular wheels because they're almost like a unilug. This one, since it's only one nut, I'm just going to run it. Let those, these are coming right back off. They got overspray on them from painting the Courier. Anyway, so that's where we're at right now. I got to haul ass, get this done, get down the hill, and get the alignment done. Other thing that happened was, it was running great going down there, but on the way back it was kind of running lean. Idle was up high. It really sounded like a vacuum leak. So I came home, I tuned it, and it immediately went right back out of tune. And so I thought, well, maybe the secondaries are sticking open. Came back here to play with it, and I discovered, yeah, this camera is pretty cheap. See how much play there is? And these are the secondary shafts, and this carburetor really isn't that old. And look at that. The primary shafts are even worse. And I sprayed some carb spray around there, and it didn't change the idle, but Matt went ahead and ordered a new carburetor. That should be here maybe today. So we'll see about doing that, and then right now I gotta get this wheel put back on, get it on the ground, check the pressures. I'm gonna grab a jack and a spare just in case, because the left front Chrysler wheel, there's a lot of rust in the bead, and I'm afraid it's probably gonna leak down on me on the way down there. So that's where we're at. I'm gonna get going down there and see if we can't get this thing aligned. It was towed out really bad yesterday. I did stop in a parking lot. I turned each tie rod and adjuster towed in a turn on each side, and it drove great after that. I didn't have a tape measure with me, so I couldn't set it, but yeah, you could drive it with one hand on the wheel. It wasn't pulling, it wasn't wandering, I wasn't doing anything weird. So I'm excited to see how much better this thing's going to drive once that's done. But I gotta get back on it. We'll be back on you later. Okay, here we are on the Mustang. The charging system is a problem. With the lights off, heater off, it's charging about 13.5 volts. It's enough to keep the battery up. We're okay. running the lights and going down the highway at 1500 RPM, 2000, 2500 RPM. It'll charge about 13.2, which really isn't enough, but it's enough to keep the battery from going dead. But if you're running the lights and the heater, it charges about 12.5. Not enough. Plus, if you're driving through town at 1000 RPM, 1500 RPM, it's only charging at about 12.8. Still not enough. I didn't have a lot of confidence that the regulator was bad, but it was pretty rusty. It was a really cheap off-brand that I never heard of. I pulled it off, and even the Napa one that was made in Taiwan weighed twice as much as it. So I changed it anyway, Okay. No improvement with the charging, but hey, we have a spare now. And we definitely have a good one on the apron there. So we're going to swap the alternator out right now. I went ahead and picked up the highest output alternator for these years. I went ahead and got one with dual pulleys, just in case we need to run two belts. I do have the crank pulley, the water pump pulley, both are set up for dual belts, but the alternator wasn't. So now I can run dual belts if we need to. So we're going to pull the alternator off right now and swap it out and see what we have. Stay tuned. Safety first, we need to disconnect the battery first and foremost. Okay. We need to pull the belt off. We've already gone ahead and loosened it up. The main bolt here. We need to get it off. Once we get it pulled away, then we need to get all the little wires off the back of it. And then it'll be off. Okay, so here's what we're dealing with. These are actually tight, though the rubber insulation on the connector doesn't look great. And then everything's kind of taped up. I don't know, it's not confidence instilling. This wire has been wrapped around there. I wish this camera was a little better for you guys. Yeah, so we're going to pull this off and clean it up and swap it over. Well, it doesn't sound bad. I think it's putting out like 10 amps or something like that. It's probably our problem. Alrighty, let me get that thing off and then we're going to swap it over. Okay, so we discovered some problems. Somebody has clearly been in here before. You see our butt splices. And this harness is actually readily available. It's just not available this weekend. This is the stator wire. As you can see, it is toasty, it is crispy, it is burnt. I don't know if it's too small of a gauge. If it was just on this connector, I wouldn't be too worried about it, but it's actually looks like it's gotten hot all the way back to the regulator. So we're going to replace this section and then we're going to check the resistance on it and see how bad it is. Maybe it was an old part where it's not really having a problem now. I haven't smelled anything electrical. I don't know. I didn't think the stator would get that hot. But we're going to go with this and see what happens. Old and busted, new hotness. I don't know what the output rating of this one is. Maybe one of y'all can tell me. It's got a big fat 13 on it, I think. This one's rated at 61 amps. According to this lovely label that you can't read. At 2,000 RPMs, it's only putting out 26. Which is kind of like what we have now. And that's just kind of par for the course when it comes to old stuff. They don't charge at idle very well. Here's our patched up harness. Got it wrapped, soldered, all that nice stuff. I gotta check the resistance in the main harness back to the voltage regulator. See what's going on with that. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing installed and go from there. Okay, I've gone ahead and put away the voltmeter, but I wanted to show you everything all installed and pretty. It's a nice new regulator. So, turns out those wires that were crispy were actually the ground wires. Some genius had them hooked to the stator on the alternator, and that's what fried them, and probably fried the alternator too. We now have 14.6 volts at idle, and when you rev it up, it goes to 14.67 and holds steady. If I turn on all the loads, high beams, heater fan, everything I can think of, it sits on 12.6, and it'll float right around 12.61, 12.59, 12.62, you know. So it stays pretty steady there as well. And you give it a little bit of gas and it shoots right back up to 12.67. So success. We are good. We are gold. The headlights are a hell of a lot brighter now, even though we're inside here with the lights on. I'm going to put away all my caca here and call it a night. Tomorrow I got to go to work with her, and Matt is going to pick it up after work. I got to clean it out, get my jacket and all that crap out of the inside of it, my tools. And he's going to take it in Monday morning for new dual exhaust, headers back, collectors, all that good stuff. And hopefully, when it gets back, we're going to flip the shackles over and bring the rear end back up, and we'll put the mags back on it because then they won't be scraping. Right now, I've got these rotten old modular wheels that I've had just kicking around here. They came on some piece of crap that I bought. I can't remember what. There's been a lot of pieces of crap that I bought. Yeah, you can't hardly see them. That's a little bit better. Old rusty chrome modular wheels with a gold stripe. Yeah. So that's it for the night. We'll probably be back on tomorrow. I'm going to introduce you to Matt. And we'll show you the new exhaust when it comes in, and go from there. You all take care. So pretty, so pretty. Got the new carpet on. As you can see, beautiful. Still need to hook up this breather hose. Alrighty, we are going to fire this bad boy up and do a quick tune on it. Matt is on his way down to pick it up for tomorrow's exhaust appointment. We're going to get 2 new dual exhaust pipes and mufflers. I set it 2.5 screws out each on the mixture. It's not where it's supposed to be necessarily. It's just a good kind of rule of thumb for getting them started. I'll set it, let it warm up, and then I'll set it again. It smells rich. Okay. Sounds pretty good for now. Now, I don't know if you can really see down in there. We still have play. I don't think their build quality is what it used to be. But it's nowhere near as loose as the other carburetors were. We just need to let this thing warm up. The engine's already warm, so the carburetor ought to follow suit here in a couple minutes. I need to find a lighter spring. That one's way too heavy. I was trying to pull that other thing closed, and I don't think it was holding it open as much as I think it was just the throttle shafts being loose and leaking. Let's adjust the idle speed down. This is a 500 CFM. It was a 6 or a 625 that was on it before. This is definitely better suited for a 302, especially a stock 302, than a 600. 600 is just way too big. My brother, in his bump side, had a 302, had the same intake manifold, probably the same headers, had a real mild cam in it, low miles. We had it on a dyno. I think it dyno like 180 horsepower, but at the top end of the RPM, it was blowing some black smoke, and that was with a 600. And you had my Dodge with a 500, 318 roller cam. God knows how many miles are on it. Manual transmission, all that good stuff. Factory manifolds. And it was pulling just over 200 horsepower and just under 300 pounds of torque. No smoke. With a 500. Got a lifter pumping up. You'll see it'll smooth out here in a second. There it is. It's too rich. It's too lean. Wow, that is sensitive. Just the slightest turn. We're talking within a quarter of a turn, we're going from rich to lean. That's pretty good right there. Let's see how it sounds when I put it in gear. Okay. I think the idle needs to come up a bit. Tachometer, I don't think it's very accurate at low speed, and it's sitting on 0. Yep, we can turn it up some. Whoa. What does it sound like out here? Actually, sounds good. Doesn't smell rich. Yeah. I think we're sitting right where we need to sit. Okay. Shut this thing down and need to grab all my tools and stuff out of it. So Matt's going to pick it up and take her away. Should see it back tomorrow sometime with fresh exhaust, and then we'll wrap up all the little things on it. We need to flip those spring shackles over, get the rear end up higher, put the other wheels back on. Hopefully they won't rub. That's the one big job, and then I got to put the glove box door back on, put the radio back into it. I did buy a bunch of screws to do that with. Get it all cleaned out, put the door panel back on. Yeah, we should be pretty good. Okay, people. This is Matt, the owner of the Roachstang, otherwise known as Charlotte, I found out tonight.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about this fine piece of automotive history?
It used to be a Mad Max car when I got it, or before I got it. Partially undone when I got it.
Oh?
Yeah, partially undone.
So he was undoing it.
He was undoing it. But the rear end was still like 6 inches higher than it should be in the rear. Front end was back down where it should be. And he had removed all like handmade suspension components
Oh,
and replaced it with stock pieces to get it back down. It had a push bumper coming off of those guys there. That had a winch plate, 4 driving lights. Like, it was heavy. The bumper itself had to weigh 150 pounds.
You should have kept the driving lights on there.
Yeah, I was thinking about remounting those. I think someday it'll get some more driving lights. Yeah, so I traded a 66 F100 for this bad boy.
Was it still stuck when you traded it, or was it running?
I had not started the truck yet. I had collected a bunch of parts. Yeah, I hadn't even tried to turn it over.
Oh.
So, I knew the transmission went in and out of gear, and that was it. So, the guy posted it on Facebook, said, anybody interested in a 68 Mustang project, prayed for a truck, wanted an older Ford, so I sent him a picture of my older Ford. And my wife liked this more than the truck. So, yeah, that's how we got this turd.
Just remember, you got to keep Mama happy.
Yeah, that's why it hasn't been sold already.
So what are the future plans for this?
So, because Mike has put so much loving care into this now, it's hopefully going to make it all the way to Arkansas.
This thing better make it. Or I might just fly out there and burn it.
I think if it doesn't make it, it's just going to get lit on fire on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Just burn this tape if I actually do that. Because it's insured, and so, it'll work out okay. Yeah, it's got, about 2,000 miles, I think, is the drive to Arkansas, so over probably 3.5 days, I'm guessing, is the goal. So it should be pretty good.
4. Just take your time, take it easy. 4.
Be a long drive.
You'll be within 100 miles, and then you'll start getting froggy. You'll be the last guy driving this thing, and you're going to start, doing burnouts on the freeway and stuff, passing everybody.
Well, that's the trouble is, I got to drive the big heavy truck, and so, I think my mom is going to drive this thing.
She can drive the big heavy truck.
She probably could. I know that if we get caught in any snow, we're going to pull everything over, we're going to stop, just wait it out, but I'm going to hop in this thing and just have some fun in the snow. And then we'll wait it out, and then we'll go. So, yeah, well, should be good. Hopefully.
So you're gonna get us some video, right?
Oh,
right?
Yeah. We'll have multiple angles.
Yes.
Because there's the truck and trailer going behind this thing. The Lexus will probably run out in front, but I'm sure there'll be some, changing up here and there. So we'll get some drive-bys, and we'll have some good action shots.
Okay.
And we'll have some interior shots. Whoever's driving it, they know they'll have to have some.
You gonna have passengers, or it's just gonna be solo?
There'll be a passenger in every vehicle.
Oh yeah, well there you go. You got people can be filming the driver and interviewing the driver as you're going.
Yep.
So hey, Mr., Mrs., whatever. What are your thoughts on this?
Right. Everyone can give their opinion.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll probably have 3 or 4 drivers before we're there. So, you know, yeah.
Everybody will take their turn.
Yeah.
So either be, they'll be all excited to get into it and they'll find out it's a punishment.
Exactly.
No, truth be told, this thing actually drives pretty damn nice.
Well,
it
it's only
runs
going to
good.
make it 200 miles or less between gas stops, so
Yeah,
there'll be plenty of opportunity for people to trade out.
Like I said earlier, I think if we keep our foot out of it, it might do better.
I'm curious to see.
It's kind of hard to keep your foot out of it, though. It's fun.
It'd be nice to see at least like some high teens, but we'll see.
Alrighty then.
Yeah.
You heard it straight from the horse's mouth. And, yeah, we got another couple days to finalize everything. We've got, the new carburetor's on. I haven't driven it yet, though, but it's tuned. We still got to put the radio back in. We got to put the glove box in, clean it out.
New exhaust going on tomorrow.
New exhaust goes on it tomorrow, so we'll get you some video of that, and you guys get to hear it.
Make some suspension adjustments tomorrow.
Yep. We'll raise the rear end back up to a somewhat normal height instead of semi-lowered.
Yeah. It's a little too low right now.
Yeah. Well, that's it for tonight. I'm going to bed. Matt's going home.
Wish me luck.
With the Mustang.
Yeah.
He's going to call me in half an hour. I'm in the ditch. Come pull me out. What were you doing? I was having too much fun.
Yeah, testing out that new carburetor.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, you guys be safe, and we'll talk to you later. Okay, we're back on the Mustang this morning. Yeah. So it's up on jacks. I've got the axle unloaded some. You can see even with these tires it was rubbing. It's going to be a lot worse with his. And there's not really anything more I can do about pounding in that lip. So what we're going to try here he's got this on the lowest setting. We're going to move it down here. And if that doesn't work, we're going to pull those 3-inch blocks out. Which, frankly, I think we should pull the 3-inch blocks out first, but he doesn't want to do that just yet. So while we're underneath it, we're going to take a look at this exhaust. That is not 2-inch pipe. That's like 2 1/4. It actually looks pretty good. Those guys did a pretty good job. Look at that. Crimp bends, but hey, so what? It's just an old laddie Mustang. And just generic, cheap turbo mufflers. Nothing special. That's all he wanted on it. See, they did a really good job tucking it, too. The old stuff wasn't tucked like that. It just sat low. Of course, the collectors still hit the ground, but, that's standard fare. Huh, and he did not use the collectors that we bought. It's got all new hangers. Of course, I had a brand spanking new hanger there, which it looks like he reused, which is awesome. Yeah, it would have been nice if these tail pipes were a little longer. That way you don't have to worry about it pulling any exhaust into the car out here, maybe out to this far. Might help a little. I got new bushings there. Yeah. Alrighty. You can see that nasty kink in the frame right there. This whole edge is just... all that right there is just wavy and been pounded out flat. That is a 16-gallon tank, including the dent. And see, this is the thing. I mean, look at this. This is exhaust pipe dented. This thing got hit so hard that it pushed all this over into the tank. Yeah, he's gonna find another shell to put all these parts into, but have some fun with it while he can. So anyway, yeah, we're going to get on that. We're going to take that apart. Unfortunately, that's in the way, and there's not a damn thing I can do about it. But we're going to take these two loose and drop the spring down. And hopefully it'll be an easy job, and hopefully it'll also give us the height we need. Alrighty, we'll be back at you in a bit. Alright, here we are. I was able to move this pipe over just a little bit. We got it in there. see what our clearance is now. That bought us about 2 inches, which we really ought to just get rid of those, but we'll see what happens. This panel is full of filler, not that it matters. Okay, so we are going to put his tires back on the back of this thing. I need to swap his battery back into it and finish cleaning all my stuff out of it. We're going to change the oil, and I need to adjust the fast idle. This thing runs like absolute crap when it's cold. Yeah, it was running better before cold. I don't know. The only thing we've done is changed over to this 500 CFM out of back, which actually does run better going down the road. It's definitely got more pull to it. The other one was just too big. So I need to adjust the fast idle. I've already done the mixture. I did it by vacuum gauge, so it's good. I adjusted the timing. It was late, so it's good. But yeah, it just runs bad when it's cold. And it could be that lifter pumping up. Actually, I know that's part of the problem, is that lifter being pumped up, but yeah. Okay. Change tires, let it down off the jack, go change the oil, adjust the fast idle, clean it out. I think we're done. We're leaving at 6 a.m. tomorrow, so it needs to get done. We'll be back at you later. And there we have it. Front and rear wheel lip gap, wheel opening gap, whatever you want to call it. So similar. We're on kind of a hill here anyway, so you can't really tell, but it doesn't look like it's too stink bugged. Frankly, I like the look of it, but it's not my car. Okay, we're going to go jump on. We're going to flip this thing around, actually. And then I'm going to set the fast idle and change the oil.